ZELOS are one of those brands that you usually say things like they're one of the watch industry's best kept secrets, or they're extremely underrated and things like that. However, I actually don't agree with those statements. In fact, I think they aren't one of the best kept secrets of watch collectors these days. Everybody knows about them if you are a watch collector. If you are not a watch collector, you probably don't know about ZELOS, but if you ever get into watches, you eventually will. Why is that? They make incredibly good watches for a very good price, and they keep on improving every single version of their watches every time they come out with a new version. That means a lot of improvements over the years, and they keep on getting better and better. The prices don't really go up very high. However, they still have some controversy around them. A lot of people do get upset because their watches sell out immediately. I don't think that's a bad thing. I've said this in other videos. There's demand for these watches. You want ZELOS to stay in business. You don't want them to overproduce watches and just have watches sitting on the shelf. You want them to sell out almost immediately, and it gives you a little bit of an exclusive product if you are able to buy one. And you are able to buy one. People complain about this, but if you do go on ZELOS's website when they are released, and I know that's a little bit of a pain, you can get one. They usually sell out within a few hours. Some sell out within a few days. So if you show up a week later, of course, you're not going to get the version that you wanted. If you show up the hour that they come out, you might get the exact version that you want. Today, we're going to take a look at their Aurora field watch. This is their titanium version. This is the midnight blue. It's one of the more popular colors. This one has probably already sold out. But let's flip the camera and take a look at the Aurora field watch in 38 millimeters with the midnight blue dial. Well, here it is. This is a 38 millimeter field watch in titanium from ZELOS. Now, they haven't made many field watches in the past. However, this one I believe is pretty popular for them right now. It's around 38 millimeters. It wears a little bit larger than that. I'll show you on my wrist. You do have pretty straight lugs on this design. This gets the blue to black Lume dial. So this is a midnight dial, I think is what they call it. And it definitely looks like midnight. So it's black on that outer portion. That chapter ring is in black. And then as you get to the center, you have a deep dark blue. This is a sandwich dial with applied indices, no date. So you're getting a Miyota 9039 inside, automatic movement made by Miyota. It's actually pretty thin. I'll show you the profile in just a few seconds. This dial is a sandwich dial, and it gets a ton of lume. I believe that the chapter ring is lume. Those indices that are applied, so there are 4 indices that are applied. Those are the primary indices. Those are very liberally applied with lume. And then, of course, that sandwich portion has lume. I believe the logo is lumed, and the crown is lumed as well. The hands are lumed. You have stick hands. They're semi-skeletonized, and then you have a very large rectangle in yellow on that second hand. It's sort of a lollipop. That is also lumed. On the dial, it just says 200 meters of water resistance. So this actually gets 200 meters of water resistance and anti-magnetic, because this is a field watch. This is also anti-magnetic. Lots going on here, but I think it's executed really very well. This is a titanium watch. It is grade 2, but it does get an extra hard coating, giving it a scratch resistance up to, I think, 1200 Vickers. So it does have an extra hard coating applied. So that means the grade 2 titanium is protected. You do have a solid case back, a Aurora on the back. I believe that's the name of the ship that they have on here. It is screwed in. You do get 200 meters of water resistance, which is not really typical for a field watch. So turning it on its side, it is under 12 millimeters thick. Considering you're getting a sapphire crystal and 200 meters of water resistance, really a true go anywhere and do anything watch with 200 meters of water resistance. You definitely can go swimming and pretty much do anything with this watch. Throwing this on a strap, I think it would definitely dress this up a little bit. However, it comes on a very nice bracelet. The bracelet on here is an H-link bracelet that has a little bit of a stylization to it. It's not just a straight H-link bracelet, and then it leads to a beautiful clasp. Now, ZELOS have really upgraded their clasps over the years, and this is sort of the pinnacle of what they have created so far. This is very similar to what you get from something like Omega. So I have an Omega Seamaster. This is very, very similar. Underneath, it has a little push button. You push that button and this slides out really smoothly. It locks in. You do have a little plate here that is the extender. Press it again and it slides in really, really smoothly. It has a lot of adjustment here. So I would say it's over 5 millimeters, and it all just hides within the clasp. So I actually have an older ZELOS on to show you the other clasp that they were using, which I thought was great. This is just, a step up from that clasp as well. This gets a sign crown that is lumed, and like I said, this is a 38 millimeter watch, but because you have these little crown guards and because it's a little bit long on the lug to lug, it does wear like a 39 millimeter in my opinion. So it's essentially 38 millimeters spot on. It's under 12 millimeters thick. And you can see you do have female end links. However, they do act like male end links. So therefore they do not fold completely down. And you can see it's a 45.5 millimeter lug to lug. Not incredibly huge, but it is on the longer side, or the lugs are on the longer side, and 47.9 including that bracelet. You have a very big crown, very grippy, that sticks out at 6.8 millimeters. Now, price on this is $429 with this dial. There are a bunch of different dial variants. I believe that this dial variant sold out pretty much immediately because obviously it is a blue dial with black. It's very popular. I think there is one version left. That is the hammered yellow dial. And I think that's a really cool dial as well. Very different from what you normally see from ZELOS, although they are constantly making new dials for their watches. So not unexpected. They do cool things all the time, and I think that's a pretty cool dial. Very quickly, I'm gonna throw it on my wrist, and then we will do a lume shot. Today I have on one of my favorite ZELOS of all time. This is the Spearfish with the Lejeune Perret automatic movement in the back. This has to be hands down one of my favorite watches from ZELOS ever made. It's everything that I like about ZELOS in a watch. It has a fully lumed dial. You have a beautiful ceramic bezel on here. It's a 200-meter dive watch, and it has micro adjust on the fly. So the on the fly micro adjust on this one is a little bit more similar to what you would get from Christopher Ward. You have a tab back here. It's a little bit more difficult to use than their new version, but the bracelet on here, everything about this watch I thought was just phenomenal, especially the price. I think this was around $700 when it came out with the Lejeune Perret movement. You really cannot go wrong. An amazing watch with a 12-hour bezel, also pretty interesting. So very quickly, the Aurora on my 7.5 inch wrist. So like I said, this is under 12 millimeters thick, and it has around a 47 millimeter, 46, 47 millimeter lug span, 38 millimeter case, but I think it does wear like a 39 millimeter, as you can see on my wrist. $429 for this version, but like I said, this is sold out. They are going to come out with more of these in the near future, I would imagine. This was limited to 200 pieces, and there is still versions available on their website. One of those is the hammered yellow dial, which I think is actually very attractive. But there you go. I have a 7.5 inch wrist. This is a 38 millimeter watch with an around 11.5 millimeter thickness, somewhere in that neighborhood. ZELOS never disappoint with lume. Obviously, they've used a lot of lume on this dial, on the indices, on that sandwich portion. Of course, that chapter ring is lumed as well. I wasn't even 100% sure that it was lumed, but I knew that ZELOS, wherever they can put lume, they usually do. Unfortunately, I was wrong. I thought that the logo was loomed. However, the crown is loomed, as I mentioned, so I was right with that. There you go. The logo is not loomed on this. Sometimes they do loom the logo. This time they did not. I think this looks really great, especially in the dark. And you can see that the second hand is moving there because you have a lot of loom on that rectangle that is on that second hand. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. These do sell out pretty quickly, and a lot of people do complain about that. However, I really don't think that's something that you should complain about. If you really want these watches, you got to get there and you got to buy them when they are released. Unfortunately, the way it works is they're not making tons of these watches, and that's kind of the allure of ZELOS. If you want a ZELOS, you have to, be there when they go up for sale. And if you are almost guaranteed to be able to buy one. If you wait a few days, unfortunately, you may not be able to buy one. It's just how it works with them. However, they do make a lot of watches. So let's say they came out with like 4 different versions, 5 different versions of this. That's about 1,000 watches that they did make. So if you went on their website when it was available, you would have gotten one. Unfortunately, they do sell out within a few hours and sometimes days, depending on the version. There is the orange version or yellow version, as I mentioned before. That's still available, and it's been days since they went live. So definitely check that one out if you are interested. That is a very good looking watch as well. This is just probably more of a crowd pleaser because it's a black to blue dial. Very crowd pleasing color, in my opinion. But tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what you think of this watch. Tell me what you think of ZELOS. Do you think I'm wrong? I really don't think the limited quantity is actually a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. You have a little bit of an inside thing for watch collectors, people in the know ZELOS. I think that's kind of cool. It's just my opinion, I guess, but tell me if I'm wrong. I want to hear from you guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon. It's super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. I will catch you in the next video.